walking down the street, minding my own business. That's right, I was walking down the street, minding my own business, when suddenly God snorted the entire street up his nose. Yeah! And then I was stuck inside of God's nose. And I was like, help me, I'm stuck in God's nose. But then God picked his nose, and God picked me out of his nose, and God flung me through the air. And so now I'm flying through the air. And now I'm falling down through the sky. Ah! And I'm like, help me. And that's when things went from bad to worse. Because suddenly there were all of these giant flying anuses in the sky. And all of the giant flying anuses were trying to eat me. Oh no! The giant flying anuses. Hundreds of giant flying anuses, all trying to eat me. I'm like, help! But then I fell into Melania Trump's vagina. That's right, I fell into Melania Trump's vagina. And there I am in the Atlantic Ocean inside of Melania Trump's vagina. And I'm like, help me! I'm drowning inside of the Atlantic Ocean in the First Lady's vagina. And that's when Woody Allen came paddling by on a giant floating dildo. That's right. And Woody Allen said, hop in, man. So I hopped into the giant floating dildo of Woody Allen, and I was like, thanks, Woody Allen, for saving me. But then Donald Trump ejaculated into the First Lady's vagina. And now there's giant flying Donald Trump spermazoa flying everywhere. Ah! And one of the giant flying Donald Trump spermazoa grabbed me and kidnapped me. And I'm like, help! I'm being kidnapped by one of Donald Trump's giant flying spermazoa. Anyway, the giant flying Donald Trump spermazoa swam all the way to the end of the First Lady's vagina. And there, at the end of the First Lady's vagina, is occurring the French Revolution of 1789. And suddenly there I am, standing in line at the guillotine. And at the front of the guillotine is Louis XVI. And after Louis XVI is Marie Antoinette. And then there's Donald Trump. And then there's Barack Obama. And then there's me. And I'm like, hey man, something's wrong here. I want to talk to the management. And that's when Robespierre shows up. That's right, Robespierre. And Robespierre, he says, can I help you? Yeah, Robespierre, you can help me, man. Let me explain everything. You see, I was walking down the street, minding my own business, when suddenly, you see, Robespierre, God snorted up the entire street up his nose, you see, and then God, you know, I was in God's nose, and then God was picking his nose, and then God picked me out of his nose like a booger, and then God flung me through the air, and I was falling through the sky, and you know, the hundreds of giant flying anuses that were trying to swallow me, and then I wound up in the first lady's vagina, you know, and then like, Woody Allen, you know, he came along in his giant flying dildo and saved me, but then a Donald Trump spermazoa kidnapped me, and that's how I wound up here, Robespierre. Hey, Robespierre, you can cut me a break, man, and set me free, man? And Robespierre's like, let me see. Yeah, okay, man. Yeah, that seems pretty plausible, your explanation. That kind of thing happens every day. So then Robespierre sets me free. And then I say to Robespierre, I say, hey, Robespierre, you think you could free Barack Obama and Donald Trump too? Or maybe they could get a job or something. You know, they could get a job. They could work at McDonald's, or maybe they could be a sex worker or something. So Robespierre thinks about it a moment, and Robespierre says, yeah, all right, man. Hey, you, Donald Trump, and you, Barack Obama, instead of chopping your heads off, you guys can get a job. But you know what? You two guys, Barack Obama and Donald Trump, you need to get a job, you know? So you want to work at McDonald's or be sex workers, or what you guys want to do? And Donald Trump and Barack Obama, they're like, yeah, man, we've always wanted to be sex workers. So then, Donald Trump and Barack Obama, they dress up in French lingerie. Woo-hoo! And high heels. and then Barack Obama and Donald Trump, they get on their knees before me. And Donald Trump and Barack Obama, man, they start giving me this bipartisan blowjob. Yeah! Woo-hoo! Yeah! And standing in line behind me is 300 million Americans also waiting for their turn to get a bipartisan presidential blowjob from Barack Obama and Donald Trump. And the 300 million Americans waiting in line behind me for their bipartisan presidential blowjob. The 300 million Americans behind me start to chant, "Make America jizz again! Jizz, you can't believe it! Make America jizz again! Jizz, you can't believe it! Wah-hoom-ba-ga-ba-da-doom-ba. Hey, I've got me some books. Yeah, besides being a comedian, I'm also a writer. It's my book. One of my books, I got over 30 books on Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble and whatever. And this is one of my books, is Slam, Boom, Crash, a novel by me, Wolf Larsen. Slam, boom, crash, yeah. It was written in the city of Salvador in Brazil. Yeah, man, where they got these drums, you know, and these drums in Salvador, Brazil, the drums are going boom, 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 boom.